Well, you can see the confidence of the governor. You know, when you know what you're doing and you're doing it right, you smooth talk it. And he actually talked it because he thought it. It was his concept. And so, as being the main executor, he presented it the way that it should be done. And we could actually hear people right here in the hall, people outside that are watching via channel television, KSMC, and listening through Nagarta radio saying, that is our leader in whom we are well pleased. Your Excellencies, sir, may I quickly recognize the presence of some of our dignitaries that have sent in representations. Okay? We have from Edo State, representing the Executive Governor of Edo State, Mr. Godwin Obasake, is Mr. Emmanuel Uso, Honorable Commissioner, Ministry of Wealth Creation, Cooperatives and Employment. Sir, we welcome you. We also have from Osun State, representing His Excellency the Governor of Osun State, Dr. Charles Akinola, the Chief of Staff. Sir, we welcome you as well. Representing the Honorable Minister of Finance, whom you heard from His Excellency, a daughter of the state, Hajia Zainab Shamsuna Ahmed, is Dr. Mohammed Dari Dikwa. Sir, you are highly welcomed. Thank you very much. Moving ahead, Your Excellencies, Your Royal Highnesses, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is said from people that from little acorns grow big oak trees if we have the patience. The next person I'm going to invite right here happens to be one that many magazines, including the Forbes International magazine, addressing and identifying him as the first industrialist in Africa, the first richest man in Nigeria and in Africa, and other adjectives of success. Well, this came through concept, patience, and the fact that he started his investments very well. Please join me in inviting to the podium for his keynote address the chairman of the Dangote conglomerate, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger. Sir.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, and also my brother, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, the Deputy Governor of Kaduna State, my two sisters, that's the First Ladies, Haja Hadiza and Haja Aisha, the Deputy Governor-elect, Kabesi Oni of Ife, our distinguished senator-elect and any other elected member of the National Assembly, other representatives that we have from various governors, and I also respectfully stand on the existing protocol. I'm very pleased to be here with you today and thank His Excellency and the organizers of this summit for giving me the opportunity to briefly speak at this summit. Nigeria, as you know, is bedeviled with many development challenges despite abundant human capital, mineral and agricultural resources. Our country's human development indicators rank poorly when compared to peers as well as to global averages. Nigeria is ranked at 157 out of 189 countries on the Human Development Index. While the overall socio-economic condition in the country is a cause for concern. The regional disparities are in fact very alarming. In the northwest and northeastern part of Nigeria, more than 60% of the population lives in extreme poverty. It is instructive to note that 19 northern states, which accounts for over 54% of the country's population and 70% of its landmass, collectively generated only 21% of the total subnational IGR in 2017. Northern Nigeria will continue to fall behind if respective state governments do not move to close the development gap. And that's why we are always saying that, look, the biggest challenge that we have and what we've been praying for is to have 10 governors like Malam Nasir El-Rufai that will move the northern Nigeria. So closing this gap requires huge multi-year investments, and government will not be able to raise the capital required to fund this. Only the private sector can raise the amount of capital required to fund the level of investment that this country needs. Government must create a conducive environment that will trigger a huge inflow of private capital into attractive sectors of the economy. Private investment will create jobs and will ameliorate the twin challenges of unemployment and poverty. As more people gainfully employed, you will witness a very sharp decline in some of the disturbing social vices now prevalent in our society, especially amongst the youth. Kaduna State is a shining example of this gloom. While several states are taking steps in this direction, only a few, like Kaduna, are making visible progress. As the capital of the former northern region, Kaduna continues to lead on several metrics. Kaduna currently has the highest WAEC pass rate in the north and the second highest IGR generation in the northern part of Nigeria after Kano. Yes, it is after Kano, but knowing Malam Nasir is very aggressive, he will try and chase Kano. So since 2015, Kaduna State has built further on this progress. IGR has actually doubled during the lifetime of this administration, and the state's ease of doing business ranking has significantly improved, as you must have heard from His Excellency the Governor. We must commend His Excellency the Governor, Malam Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai, for bold and far-reaching reforms he has implemented over the past 4 years. The improved business climate has triggered an inflow of investments of over $500 million, of which such as Olam's $100 million investment in an integrated poultry facility. On our own part, we have already progressed to establish billions of naira automobile assembly plant in conjunction with Peugeot of France and the Kaduna State government. And you know, this investment, I think, was actually pushed very, very hard by His Excellency, and I must also thank Mr. Jimmy Lawal for putting so much pressure to make sure that this thing, is done. It is in the hope that the state government will also incentivize the SMEs to take advantage of opportunities inherent in the supply of chain to enable the SKD vehicle assembly plant to evolve into CKD plant in no distant future. This is the only way we can grow and develop our domestic automobile industry and the economy in general. Other states should follow in Kaduna's footsteps by working hard to mobilize private sector investments, which is what we are doing today. They can achieve this by taking the following steps. Number one, identify the sectors of the economy where their states have a comparative advantage, providing information and data to enable prospective investors evaluate the opportunities in these sectors, putting in place appropriate legal and regulatory framework, just like what you've heard His Excellency said, that the judiciary here has helped in dispensing cases that has to do with the business. Offering attractive sector-wide incentives, providing suitable and encumbered land was reasonable supporting infrastructure. I know that somebody, without mentioning names, said that yes, he collected a certificate of land, of a farm, to come and do agriculture here in Kaduna before even applying for it. Whereas other states, you chase them for 3 years before you get a land certificate. So, Your Excellency, thank you for that. Ensuring government officials are accessible and also very supportive. This is very important because there's actually nothing that discourages an investor when he meets a very aggressive and uncooperative and hostile public officers. Adequately resourcing state investment promotion agencies like the one that you have here in Kaduna to enable them effectively market investment opportunities. Efforts should actually be more in terms of attracting local investors. There is no foreigner that will come and invest without seeing the local investors investing. So local investors are key to attracting foreign investment, and we must pay attention to that. As the private sector investment propels an upsurge in economic activities across the northern part of Nigeria, the financial viability of the state governments will also improve. The state governments will have more money to invest in human capital development, and the rampant insecurity we are currently experiencing today will subside aggressively. The North must focus on unlocking its massive agri potentials in terms of both production and processing. No region with such agri potential should be this poor. So we have what it takes to turn around our fortunes, and I pray that all the 19 governors of the northern state will wake up and follow the footsteps of Kaduna State government. No region with such agri potential, given the vast tracts of arable land, conducive climate conditions, I think in the next 10 years, agriculture can generate more revenue and prosperity than crude oil that we have right now, if we have the right policies and also commitment. The textile sector, which once thrived in Kaduna, if you remember, at a point, textiles, they are the biggest employers of labor after the federal government of Nigeria. But today, it's not the same. So the textile industry, which actually thrived massively in Kaduna, presents a great opportunity to catalyze this investment across the value chain, which is the cotton, ginning, and they can create a lot of jobs and also reduce poverty, because you cannot eradicate poverty without creation of jobs. And it could be done. I will take you through, well, by the time I finish my paper, you'll know that it is always good to dream big, and you will be successful when you dream big. When you dream small, you will not be successful. At the Dangote Group, we are ready to partner with the willing state governments to invest and create jobs in their states. It is not the job of government to create jobs, it is the job of private sector, but the government will give us the conducive environment and also the good policies which will make us now create jobs. Agriculture is one of our priority investment sectors, and we are targeting northern Nigeria for most of our agri investments. This is due to the comparative advantage the region enjoys, as well as the direct and indirect employment it can generate. We are rapidly growing our agri-business portfolio and have made significant progress on rice and sugar plantation, and we are also evaluating the dairy products. Our rice projects, we have already bought 10 mills which will produce 1 million tons of rice, and closely working with outgrowers. All this will be 100% fed by outgrowers. We are not going to go into farming. They will, will empower them, we'll give them the seedlings, we'll give them everything. And we are now going across several states, which is Jigawa, Kano, Kebbi, Nasarawa, Niger, Sokoto, and Zamfara states. But later on, we realized that Kaduna State is almost like number 2 in rice. So we are going to work with the governor and also have a mill here in Kaduna. The installation of these mills will be ready latest by end of this year. We expect that Kaduna's one will also start very, very, very soon. Our ongoing backward integration in the sugar business, we aim at cultivating 60,000 hectares of sugarcane across Adamawa, Nasarawa, and Taraba states. We will then process and produce 500,000 tons of sugar annually. Closely allied to our investment in farming is our fertilizer plant, which will be commissioned in a few months this year. And this plant will give us 3 tons of urea and ammonia, and is located at Lekki Free Trade Zone. What this will do is that it will make Nigeria the highest exporter of fertilizer in sub-Saharan Africa. That is from from importation now to exporter. We will export between us and our other competitors, will export not less than 3 million tons of fertilizer. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the private sector is indeed the best vehicle to transform any economy. This was amply demonstrated in Nigeria in the sub-cement sector, where we moved from being the second largest importers of cement in the world after America to a self-sufficiency and now to export. By the time we finish our 2 terminals in One, in Port Harcourt, and also the one in Lagos, Apapa, these 2 terminals will give us 8 million tons of cement export. And it will generate more foreign exchange than anything else outside oil and gas. So you can see what you can do by these sort of things. Our ongoing refinery, which is 650,000 barrels per day, will actually satisfy the entire demand of Nigeria, and we will end up to be the biggest exporters of petroleum products in Africa. That's number 1, and also second largest exporter of petrochemical, which is polypropylene, polyethylene, in sub-Saharan Africa. These investments are indication of what a private sector can do given the right environment. To unlock even more private capital, government needs to continue to provide attractive incentives, ensure policy consistency, tackling smuggling, and provide enabling infrastructure. I think there's nothing wrong in government to empower private sector, because they can sit back and collect taxes while they can now take care of the rest of the society and also provide infrastructure and other demands. Power is a very, very big challenge, but I must say that I'm very, very happy with the presentation of His Excellency that you are going to have 230 and another 30 megawatts, which is hydro. I can assure you, having commissioned these 2 plants will easily double the GDP of Kaduna State, and it will impact the lives of everybody here. On a bigger note, we're also planning on building what you call EWOS, East-West gas pipeline, which will transport gas from the east to the west. And when we finish this, it will unlock, and this gas can produce up to about 12,000 megawatts of power, and it is equivalent to what LNG gas intake today. LNG total is 3.2 billion. We will now run 2 gas pipelines under the sea, and this will give us 3 billion scoop of gas. This can empower and unleash a lot of opportunities in Nigeria. Your Excellency, As I reflect on your choice of the theme for this year's summit, Expanding Investment Frontiers, it distinctly conveys the message that you do not intend to rest on your oars or bask in the notable progress you have already made. I must congratulate you for having this conference, but the only thing that I've seen is that out of the sponsors, I didn't see Dangote Group. So from next year, we'll be right at the top. A lot more needs to be done and hopefully will be done. For example, while Kaduna State has highest WAEC pass rate in the north, it ranks 12th nationally. And while Kaduna State has the second IGR generation in the north, it ranks number 7 nationally. So there is a lot of room for improvement. And giving you, Kaduna people, by giving this opportunity and the chance for Malam Nasir to come and spend another 4 years, I'm 100% you see a lot of wonders where he will take you to the top. And I think Kaduna State, under his leadership, will continue to think out of the box and come up with creative ways to actualize medium-term development plan and implement its well-crafted long-term infrastructural master plan. And I pray this 9th Senate will approve the loan of 350 million, which was given to Kaduna. At least we have friendly senators, nobody will object. In fact, they will push it. On our part, we are certainly not done with Kaduna and will continue to explore opportunities for new investment, especially in agricultural sector. In particular, we will be looking at the opportunities of dairy production in Kaduna State, and this one will work with the federal government to give us a very, very, very good policies so that we can do dairy production. And I would like the audience to know that 98% of the milk we consume in Nigeria is imported. It is not sustainable. We spend $1.3 billion every year to import powdered milk, which is not of good quality. I repeat, which is not of good quality, because it has a lot of fat in it. In conclusion, I would like to reiterate that the private sector is the engine of growth, especially given the entrepreneurial nature of Nigerians. Indeed, more than 80% of Nigeria's GDP comes from the private sector, whereas government only contributes 20%. I believe we all have what it takes to transform the economy, reduce unemployment, and eliminate extreme poverty. Your Excellency, my parting advice is that you should consider setting up an economic team to drive the economic growth of Kaduna State. This team should be led either by yourself or by a private individual with a very strong track record. It will help, because when you involve private sector in your economic team, they will tell you things that you don't want to hear. They will tell you the truth. I'm not saying that government will not, but being the leader, it is very difficult for us. Let me give you an example. It's just like us now. The independent directors in our various organizations, they actually have more powers than the internal directors that we have. Because somebody that I pay his bill, he might not want to upset me. But when you have somebody who is totally not connected with you, he will give you the honest advice. And he will tell you what you should do, what you shouldn't do. Your Excellency, my second advice is that please concentrate on agriculture, on agriculture, on agriculture. This is where we need to face. On this note, I wish to first of all thank my brother, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, for actually inviting me to this Invest, and I regret not coming before this year. I was invited last year, but I was somewhere attending to other meetings. But I have no doubt that the Kaduna Invest 4 will be a resounding success, and I wish you a fruitful deliberations. Thank you very much.
Successful, outspoken. who shares the same vision, passion, and mission with His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, Alhaji Aliko Dangote. Another round of applause for him, please.